is speaking those words of love to your body, embracing every part of yourself, and taking the time to do that for yourself so that there's a true sense of self-love that will come out in your movements. It will come out in the way you carry yourself. And when you're doing a dance or a performance, it's going to shine throughout all of that as well. Hey everyone, it's Rashida and Marshall. Welcome back. For those who are returning, I'm so grateful for your support. It's been a little while since I've dropped a video. I've been going through the motions of life. I know we all know how that goes, so I'm looking forward to sharing some more content with you all. I have this one and some other ones that I'm editing and some ideas that I'm getting ready to work on and record. So getting back into the swing of things. And for those who are new, thank you for deciding to check out this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on dance tutorials and Pilates workouts and wellness chats and all of those things. So this video, this is actually a video that I've wanted to do for a little while, just hadn't gotten around to it, but many of you all have been really enjoying the sensual dance tutorials that I've been sharing, or the videos, kind of highlighting some sensual movements and practices that you can do. And I'm so glad that you all have been liking those. I have more on the way. But I wanted to share a video from more of a personal perspective in terms of what has helped me on my journey to sensuality, things that I still add into my routine and my practices now that have helped me to feel more comfortable and confident in that side of who I am, and things that I think can be helpful for any, individual who is looking to connect more deeply to that side of themselves. So I just wanted to share a couple tips. I think I have about 3 or 4, maybe 5. We're going to see how it goes as I'm sharing and chit-chatting. Then I'll share a few stories of how I kind of got into this, place in my life and things like that. So the first tip that I would share is, and I think this is probably the most important tip as well, and that would be to take time getting comfortable in your physical self. So that's different for all of us, depending on where you may be on your journey in terms of accepting, your physical self. For some of us, we may have been struggling with weight issues, throughout our life. Or maybe you're someone who's a little more slim and you've wanted to have a little more curves or a little more muscle, a little more size to you. Maybe you've been in certain relationships or friendships where, there was things that were said or things that were done that caused for you to feel a sense of insecurity in your body, or maybe based on the certain practices or beliefs that you were brought up in, it might have been kind of a disconnection between you and your body and things like that. So it can vary for all of us. And then especially now with social media, I'm sure we've all found ourselves comparing ourselves to images and individuals that we see on these social media platforms. So wherever you may fall in that journey, I think it's very, very important to be able to have a true and loving connection to your physical self. If you're looking to perform a sensual dance where your hands are exploring your body, right? Running down your chest and up your legs and your back and your butt, and letting yourself let your head go back and caress your neck and all of that, it's going to be hard to embrace your body in that way if you are not happy with where you are physically, if you're not happy with how you feel, if you don't like how your belly is, or if you are dancing in front of the mirror and you don't like the reflection that you see. It's going to be hard for there to be that genuine and authentic connection to the movements. And if you're looking to perform for somebody, or if you're someone who is, taking classes and performing on stage and you have to perform for an audience, it's not going to come off as that genuine self-acceptance of your body. And so I think that one of the best things to do, and this is something that I used to do for a long time, was spending time in front of the mirror, whether I was naked or in whatever I was wearing. And I would allow myself the moment to look at my physical body from top to bottom, and accepting whatever I saw as flaws, or what I saw, was not the way I wanted it to be, but embracing it and accepting myself for who I was in that moment, my physical self. And I would do that over and over and over and over again until I was able to pull myself out of a place of speaking negatively about myself, and finding all my being critical, and rather being able to speak words of love and words of affirmation and words of acceptance to myself. All of us might have a different tactic, whether it's speaking to a professional or sharing, sharing with those other individuals who are close to you, or writing in a journal. There are other ways to go about it, but that was something that I did, especially when I was in college, when I was just kind of going through a place where I was not happy with what I saw a lot of times. So I tried to find ways to shift my perspective of my physical self. It's easy for our mind to go towards being super critical and super judgmental and speaking all of those harsh words to ourselves. That's sometimes much more easy than it is to speak words of love to ourselves. And so I would say to start there. This way, when you are performing in front of the mirror, it can be a moment of self-care for you. If you're doing a dance and you're looking at yourself, and you can, in that reflection that you're seeing, you can really be embracing your curves, embracing your face and your hair and your body, and you can really allow yourself to get into the movements that you're doing rather than being critical. Or if you're performing for your partner, you can be doing it in a way where you're showing off because you already love what you have and you love what you see, and that he or she should be looking at you and taking it all in. So it's going to come off from a more genuine place, and that sense of self-acceptance, that in itself is a sexy energy to carry and a sexy energy to be wearing. So that would be the number one thing that I would say, is speaking those words of love to your body, embracing every part of yourself, and taking the time to do that for yourself, so that there's a true sense of self-love that will come out in your movements. It will come out in the way you carry yourself, and when you're doing a dance or a performance, it's going to shine throughout all of that as well. So that would be tip number one. So the second thing that I would say is to spend time going through free-flowing dance, or allow yourself to flow freely through dance. So this is something that I started doing when I was first getting into sensual dance, and it's something that I still do to this day. So fun story, I'll kind of give you a little backstory as to how I got into sensual dance. I used to work at a studio when I lived in Florida, and it was a pole and dance and fitness studio, all those things together. But I didn't teach pole or dance at the time. I was teaching fitness-based classes, and I taught a little bit of Caribbean dance classes, but I mixed a lot of fitness into what I was doing. So it was a lot of like Tae-Bo and jumping and, real calisthenic cardio stuff mixed into the dance. So I was in a place where I loved doing that at the time, so I would mix all that in. But there was an instructor at the studio, and she taught chair classes. She taught chair and pole and a mix of things, and she was going to be out of town for a couple weeks. And she came up to me and she was like, Rashida, I think you'd be great at subbing my chair class. Would you be able to do that? And I remember in my mind, like, I had not ever taught a chair class. Like, I had not done anything with a chair but sit on the chair, right? So in my mind, I'm like, why is she asking me, And she was like, I think you'd be great. You'll do a good job. You can take a couple chair classes and, get a feel for it, and then you can come up with the routine. So I was like, okay, still in my mind, I'm like, I don't know why she could have chosen anybody else who taught chair classes on other days, or who taught some pole classes, but I just kind of went with it. So I put together my routine. I taught two classes. I can't remember how one, but I taught one or two classes, and I still have my routine on my phone to this day. And I remember it was cool. It was fun. And that's what got me into floor work, because when I made my routine, only like 25% of my routine actually used the chair, right? The rest of it, I was on the floor, kicking my leg up and rolling around and doing all types of stuff. And so as I was making it, and then I would practice my dance, I was like, oh, I like this. Like, I like how it feels and everything. I made my routine to Rocket by Beyonce. So, you know, it was real fun. And afterwards, you know, I did the class and everything. And afterward, I was like, let me just play around with this. Like, let me try making more routines to songs and just doing stuff, you know? And I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I didn't have like a real template to go by. I didn't know too many movements. I didn't know how to piece the choreography together, but I just knew I liked how it felt, kind of moving in a sexy manner to the songs and working on being seductive. So I would practice that. I would set up my camera or my phone and I would record myself and then watch it afterwards. And a lot of times, whatever I was doing wasn't that, you know, wasn't anything great. You know, my moves weren't as coordinated and I would just be doing stuff. But it was the process of putting on music and letting myself go and not being in a place where I was like, I need to do this move, I need to practice that, I need to do this. I hadn't really allowed myself the space to flow freely and to just dance. And even though I always loved dancing and I had fun doing it, I think I would only reserve it for like certain times, you know, like if I was out with friends or if I was at the club or whatever. I never really opened up the space for me to do it that frequently at home on my own time as much as I had when I started doing that. And that was such a liberating feeling for me because I was allowing myself to get out of my head and I was letting my body just do movements that felt good and movements that made me feel sexy in the moment. And I was connecting to movements that were new to me, but were opening me up in a different way. And to this day, that is something I still do, whether I'm making a routine or not, whether I am practicing for something or not. I now make that space on a regular basis for me to just dance and flow and let my body go. And I think for any person who does that, whether it's, you know, sensual dance, it could be any type of dance, any type of movement that moves you, but just letting yourself flow to the melody and release that energy and to just be in that joyous state. It's such a good feeling, again, such a liberating feeling. And I think that is a great way to be present in the moment as well. Because when you're flowing freely to music, you're just connecting to the melody, you're connecting to the beat, you're connecting to the lyrics, and you're connecting to the emotions that they are bringing out of you in that moment and expressing yourself through movement. And that can allow for you to feel that sense of freedom in other aspects of your life, in my opinion. And it helps for you, again, to get out of your head. And especially as someone who can always be in her head, I mean, that is like probably my default way of life sometimes. So for someone who knows how it is to be all up in here, dancing freely and letting go of worries and cares in the moment is great for me. And so I highly encourage that. It's a great way to see what your body can do. And sometimes you'll be surprised at what comes out in those moments. And I think that will then translate into choreography that you're doing, that can translate into sensual and seductive dance movements that you're doing for another person, because you want to feel a sense of freedom when you're dancing for that person. You want to show that you feel free in your body and in your seductive nature, and that's going to be appealing to that person who is watching you. And again, in your day-to-day life, you can think of someone who, when you see them, they just look like they're in a space where they're not bogged down, you know, by all the thoughts and worries and responsibilities that they have going on. Just that light energy that someone can carry, and when they come into your space, you can kind of sense, you know, that they move freely through life. And that's an attractive energy as well that you can pick up on someone. So I would definitely suggest free-flowing dance and making that a regular part of your routine. So the third thing I would say kind of connects to what we just talked about with the free-flowing dance and being present. I would say to try to be present in all aspects of your life. So, or more so, what I would say is to immerse yourself in experiences, immerse yourself in the senses and the things that are around you. And that's a big part of, sensuality, right? If you think about connecting to your senses, you want to connect to what you are hearing in the moment. So that could be when you're dancing and listening to music, and, whether you're a singer, if you're a dancer, or, whatever the case is, you connect to the melody and the beats and the instruments, right? If you are someone who loves art, or you love to look at certain things, or you love to be in nature and admire the colors and everything like that, and the scenery, be present in that moment. If you're out and about, with food that you eat, if with feelings, if someone is caressing you, or if you're caressing your body, or if whatever the case is, if you feel the temperature, it's hot, it's cold, the fabrics that you're sitting on, all those type of things, I think that it's really valuable and rewarding to be able to take in what's going on around you and to be moved by that, and that also is an energy that is appealing and that is attractive and that allows for you to get the most out of what's being expressed around you. And then you're going to be able to express yourself from a more I guess you could say from a place with more depth, if you're able to take in the sights and the sounds and see how you respond to that. How does it feel for you? How does it taste to you? What does it sound like? I think in a world where we can be distracted by so many things and we forget to take in the moment, it can be so beneficial to reconnect to that. And then you could even translate that into when you're with your partner, right? If you are with your partner, whether you all are just, if you're having some foreplay, or if you are just spending time with that individual, if you're, just talking to them, if you all are having sex, if you are preparing for, like whatever it is, or even like after sex or something, but you want to take in what you're feeling. If someone is, caressing you, if you're laying on someone, if you're caressing them, you don't want to be doing that and you have like the phone in your hand, or like the TV is on and you're like drawn over here, but then this person is here, or like there's a lot of things going on. So I think that you want to take in the sensations of what's happening when that person is touching you or kissing you or loving, holding on to you, or, if they're breathing on you, like you want to take in all of that. And then you want to see how they're feeling when you're caressing their body, and you don't want to be all in your head and thinking about what's happening on your phone, or what's happening on social media, or what you have to do at work tomorrow, or, you want to be able to take it all in. That's going to heighten the experience. That's going to heighten the sensations. That's going to heighten the connection that you have with that person. And I think if you, translate that to other things, it makes that experience in the moment better and more enjoyable and more rich and more rewarding if you connect to it from a real place when you're focused on it. So I think that's a really big one too, as it pertains to tying into your sensuality and connecting more, is to really spend time taking in all of the different experiences from all of your different senses. And then I would also say, and this kind of ties into what I said about accepting your physical self, I would say to create time to adorn or beautify yourself. Now, that is different for all of us. Some of us love to do our hair and some of us don't. I know I'm someone who I keep it real simple. Like I do the bare minimum. It's clean, it's moisturized, that's it. I'll do a little style and I go, right? For some, it's, a lot of jewelry. For some, it's very minimal jewelry, or it's handcrafted jewelry, or it's real, elaborate outfits, or maybe you're a cute, casual, low key type of person with your clothes, or however you have found yourself most comfortable expressing your style and your persona is, gonna vary. But I think that there's something really special in creating time and space in figuring out what your style is and making time to, piece it together when you go out. Like on a Saturday, I could be going absolutely nowhere, but I'm going to put on a cute little something, whether it's a wrap skirt and a tube top, or if it's some shorts and a nice little crop top and my earrings on, and I could sit in the house all day. No one will see me, but I feel cute. I look good. For myself and for my dog and for my plants. Like, I look good, like no one has to see me, but it makes me feel good to know that I spent a little bit of time beautifying myself for me, not for anyone else's eyes. And if someone happens to see me, if someone happens to come over, if I happen to go out, well, then that's great. I look nice, but it doesn't have to be for anyone. So I would say that it should start with yourself. You should want to find things and clothes and accessories or whatever that allow for you to feel beautiful, and it should be for your own benefit. I tie that in now to my self-care regimen. And there was a point in time where I didn't do that, where I let all those things fall to the wayside because I was so focused on everything else that I had to do and other services that I was providing. I would push it off until I realized, well, I should be doing this for me. I should create time. It doesn't have to be elaborate, doesn't have to be crazy. I don't have to go over the top, but I'm worth that. And that makes me feel really good. It boosts my self-confidence when I wake up and I spend a little time primping and pampering and putting on something that I like and something that makes me feel cute. And it's something that I would not take out of my schedule now in the way that I live my life. So I would say to find what that is for you. For me, it's handcrafted jewelry. I love a nice pair of handcrafted earrings, or jewelry that I can get from like a festival or something. I love to find clothes with color. I love dresses and sundresses and things. So I've kind of found what works for me. And again, I have made that a part of my routine. So I think that is a great way just to connect to yourself, connect to your body, connect to your form of self-expression. And that's going to help you to express yourself in a more authentic manner and to embrace who you are in a more authentic manner. And then again, that will come off as an appealing energy that other people will sense, other people will resonate with, and other people will connect to. That will draw people into you from a real place, in my opinion. I would say to definitely create time for self-adornment and beautifying yourself on your own terms based on what your style and persona is. All right, you all, so that is it. That is my video on how to connect to your sensuality, things that have helped me, things that I think will be beneficial if you are on your journey towards tapping into your sensuality more. And please feel free to share some comments. If there are other things that you've done or things that you've seen or heard that have been helpful for you, I'd love to hear that. But I just wanted to share a little bit of what's helped me thus far. So thank you all so much for watching and for listening to me. I can't wait to share the rest of the videos that I have for you all. So until then, you all have a good one. Bye.